Good morning, world. I'm in Northeast Philly. If anyone hasn't seen Northeast Philly row homes, it's kind of what it looks like. So this is about tire selection. So you buy a car, right? Hopefully you've had a new car at some point in time in your life, or a new car to you, and there was a tire on there, and they may have been bad, and then they may need to be replaced, or they may be new already. And what do you know? You're not a tire expert, right? Or maybe you are. So I would tell you, every vehicle that is sold comes with a specific back tire. I'm sure based on their buying power and performance needs for that vehicle. So if you have an economy class car, it usually has a small light wheel. And what can I give you as an example? We'll just say a smart car, okay? Small tire, small wheel. Car can only go so fast. The car can only handle so many G's in a turn. So they need a tire that works. And trust me, they're not putting a tire on there that's overkill for you, because then it would be too expensive for 1 million vehicles or 2 million vehicles. They're never going to overkill a tire. So what do? You look in your owner's manual and you see what it says. You look on the door jamb. It tells you the recommended specific tire size or sizes that vehicle is designed to handle with an OEM wheel. It doesn't say what the weather should be, what the traction should be. It says none of that. So now you need to kind of figure that out. My opinion is every vehicle is different, every driver is different, and demands are different, right? So he has aftermarket wheels on there with choppy tires. And if you look around, every tire is a different size, different make, speed rating, blah, 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 blah. So what do? If you're not the type of person who is looking for performance, right, in dry conditions, performance and traction, you buy the least expensive tire you can, because all tires that are made have DOT standards. Even drag race tires, drag radials have DOT standards. So then you could shop around and say, all right, well, this is the most affordable tire for you. Now, if you are a performance type of person, then you're going to need to know quite a few different things, or have a performance vehicle, to make a conscious buying decision for your car. Because some tires absolutely suck in wet weather conditions, especially on a performance vehicle. And same thing with trucks. Like these guys, buy these trucks, right? And they have an AT tire on it, which is all-terrain. But then the AT is more on the off-road than it is 100% on-road, and then the vehicle spends most of its time on the road. And then guess what happens? Those tires kind of fall apart real fast, because he's on the blacktop or pavement 99.9% of the time, and he's never in the mud, snow, and sand. Okay, so that tire isn't practical for you, and it's not designed to drive on the blacktop all the time. So you kind of need to know where your vehicle is going to be all the time and make a decision there for a truck. All right, and especially a vehicle that's a fleet vehicle or commercial use vehicle that's being used all the time, or a multi-passenger vehicle. Your tires need to have some type of sidewall rating, ply rating, toe rating. Same thing with trailers. You can't put car tires on a trailer. You can, but they're not designed for that. Although people do it, but that's not what they were designed for. They're specific trailer tires because of the load that they are under. So for me, when I buy tires, I'm not looking for performance. I'm not looking for wet weather. It doesn't really snow around here anymore. So mud and snow tire specifications on a tire mean shit to me. It means absolutely nothing. So think about that. If you're in a climate that it's not mud and snow, right? What do you care? If you're in a very rainy climate area, then that's going to be very important to you. So environment has a lot to do, as well as what the vehicle usages are as well. But someone sent me a message and say, hey, I need some new tires. I'm going to look online, which I can't stand when someone says they're going to buy things online and then they want you to install it. It really aggravates me, but I get it. What should I buy? Well, I said, what are you using your vehicle for? I go back and forth to work. Very little driving here and there. I said, it absolutely makes no difference what you're going to buy. Find the most affordable tire and then make your purchase from there. So you don't really drive your car. You need new tires. You don't really need much as far as specifications go, right? But if you're saying, hey, I want a smooth ride, I want a quiet ride, I want a touring tire, there's so many options in tires for how long they last, how they handle, many things go into tires. But if you're the person that's like, hey, I don't really care, I just need a tire, and you're not in an environment that warrants you to have a specific tire, then you can make a conscious decision and say, hey, all right, this is the cheapest tire for me, and I'm going to go that route. Now, if you're driving an all-wheel drive Hellcat, or not all-wheel drive Hellcat, or Trackhawk, or a new Corvette, or a performance style vehicle, most people who drive a performance style vehicle expect their tires to perform because the engine and transmission are performing, right? Who buys a performance car and who doesn't push the limits on it? Well, I would tell you, not very many people, unless they're car show people or trailer queens or things like that. Okay, every weekend you're on the beach fishing, and you're in the trails hunting with this car, and you're a true outdoors diehard, and you have a Subaru all-wheel drive. Well, then you might want to see if they have a mud and snow tire for that vehicle. You follow me? Or an all-wheel drive Honda or something of that nature. See, you follow what I'm saying? But if you're on the pavement, every day, and you're never on the mud and snow, and we don't need it. If it's not a real rainy climate for you, what do you need an ultra performing tire in the rain? Like an Aquatread. A Goodyear Aquatread was like the latest thing going back way. Okay, well, if it rained and flooded all the time, I would say, yeah, you need an Aquatread, right? You need something to push that rain out from your tires. But if you're not in an environment to where it's raining all the time, what good's an Aquatread for you? Because once it has a specific character, it's going to lack someplace else for you, and that's the truth. Snow tires, we see people, and this was years ago, they would have their summer tires and they would have their winter tires. Now, Kia tells you that these are your summer tires, and then you need to buy a winter tire because those performance tires absolutely suck in multi-weather conditions. So you may not know that. Yes. So Kia, and kudos to Kia, or maybe it's just the research that certain owners have done. Their performance line vehicles say these are your summer tires, and the car doesn't come with your all climate winter tires. You follow me? So what do you do when you need tires? Do you really put the signs to it and the vehicle because you don't use it for anything special? I'll tell you this right here. The right front tire on this Toyota convertible Solara is a slick. He probably doesn't care what tires he has on there. Hero Dynamics all-terrain, right? All-terrain on a Yukon that spends most of the time on the pavement. What do we have here? We have a Goodyear, and then we have a Grabber General, which is probably less of an AT tire. And he doesn't have Grabber ATs all the way around. So you follow what I'm saying? Like, he had an all-terrain tire with mud and snow traction for what? It doesn't really snow. There's no mud around here. And that's a waste of the tire. It's a waste of the characteristics. And you can invest your money in something else. All right, so what's he got on here? Here's another AT tire on an AT tire on a vehicle that spends most of its time on the road. And I think some Jeeps come with an all-terrain tire, but most people who are buying a Jeep or a Gladiator at some point of its life, and I would say that they plan on taking that bitch off-road. And if they don't, then those tires suck for what they're using it for. Because an all-terrain tire doesn't have the stopping power on the pavement that a touring tire or a highway tire would necessarily. So the wider the gaps in the tire tread, right, the less rubber that's in contact with the pavement, and there you go. So when you're braking, they really don't have the stopping power, even though it's a bigger tire and it's not the same. So tell me what you think.